Hello. So this video is going to talk about Wole Soyinka's play Death and the King's Horseman, which is probably Soyinka's most famous play, definitely his most anthologized play. Soyinka is one of the towering figures of contemporary Nigerian drama, and with good reason, because he's a brilliant playwright. But Death and the King's Horseman is a really interesting play about the clash of cultures under colonialism and the difficulty of finding spaces of compromise when you have two dynamically different cultural outlooks. So what happens in the play is that the king has died. Hi Frank, my cat is joining this video. Keep walking a little bit. So the king has died, and so there's a ritual requirement that his horseman, the guy who cares for his horse, etc., has to commit suicide in order to join him in the afterlife. And so that horseman is named Elisine. And so the whole play, the early portion of the play at least, centers on the sort of build up to Elisine's suicide. And so in the course of that, he gets the best food, he gets to marry whatever women he wants, he gets all these sort of perks because he is ritually sanctified. And so this is, this is something that the stability of the Yoruba cosmological world depends upon, this suicide. The problem is that the British don't understand. So you have the district officer, Simon Pilkings, who thinks this is a barbaric ritual. He doesn't understand its cosmological significance. He doesn't understand its ritual importance to the community. And so he decides that he is going to stop Elisine from committing ritual suicide, which he does successfully. Now, this is where the play gets really interesting because it's somewhat ambiguous. There's a character named Eologia, who's the sort of chief of the marketplace, the lead woman, the mother of the marketplace, and she accuses Elisine of being too attached to the world of the living, particularly to his new bride, to the good food that he's been getting, etc., etc. And so Eologia argues, or Eologia comes to the jail cell where Elisine is being held, and she claims that he has chosen not to fulfill his ritual responsibility, and therefore to throw the entire world into chaos. It's not 100% clear whether she's right or not. It's not 100% clear whether Elisine sees this arrest and the prevention of himself carrying out this ritual suicide as a sort of reprieve from a death he didn't particularly want, or whether this is genuinely the British have succeeded in thwarting his suicide that he actually was going to carry out. The play is not clear about this, and that's actually a really significant component in terms of the complexity of Soyinka's dramaturgy. But what happens? The British don't win this one, as it were. So Elisine's son Olunde comes back. He's been away studying in Britain, And Olunde comes back when he had heard that the king had died, because he knew his father would need to carry out this ritual. Olunde is also not pleased with his father. He's not quite as accusatory as Ialoja is, but Olunde is clearly disappointed in his father. He's clearly ashamed. He's clearly disgusted. And so, what Olunde does is he takes it upon himself to commit this ritual suicide, to go into the afterlife to join the king, and so to restore balance in the universe. When Olunde has done this, and they bring his body in to show Elisine in the prison cell, Elisine sort of recognizes his own failure. He recognizes how he has let down his community, and he commits suicide in his cell. I think he wraps his handcuffs basically around his neck and strangles himself. And so the central problem of the play becomes this challenge between the two cultures, this conflict over different value systems, different cosmologies, different ways of looking at the world, and of one's responsibility to oneself versus one's responsibility to the community. And so on the one hand, you've got the British, who have this sort of Christian-inflected disdain for suicide. You have the British, who come from a Western tradition that is very much privileging the individual and the importance of individual lives, etc., etc. On the other hand, you have the Yoruba context, where ritual and responsibility to the community is much more central than it tends to be in European and North American cultures. That's like US and Canada, not indigenous North American cultures, but you know what I mean. So this idea of communal responsibility, this idea of one's place in a cosmological universe, and this notion of ritual responsibility are much more central to Yoruba culture than they are to the British culture, and so that clash is really central to the colonial experience.